Lahat tayo ay naapektuhan. Lahat tayo wala. Lahat tayo ay nalito. Dahil binago ng pandemyang dulot, sino ba ang hindi naapektuhan? Sino ba ang hindi nag-alala? Sino ba ang hindi nalito? Lahat tayo ay naapektuhan. Lahat tayo ay nag-aalala. Lahat tayo ay nalito. Dahil binago ng pandemyang dulot ng COVID-19, ang paraan ng pamumuhay ng lahat ng mga Pilipino saan mang sektor ka nabibilang. Tumigil ang panandalian ang ating mga nakagawian. Tumigil ang lahat ng uri ng transaksyon. Tumigil ang lahat ng operasyon ng mga paaralan. Nakalilito. Nakakakaba. Paano na ang kinabukasan ng mga kabataan? Paano na tayo sa hinaharap?
there's a place in your heart, then I know that it is love. In this place will be much brighter than tomorrow. And if you really try to find, there's no need to cry. In this place you feel there's no hurt or sorrow. There are ways to get there if you care enough for the living. Make a little space, make a better place. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying if you care enough for the living. Make a better place for you and for me. If you want to know why, there's a love that cannot lie. Love is strong, it only because of joy for giving. If we try, we should see. In this bliss we cannot feel. Follow dream, stop existing and start living. That it feels that always love's enough for us glory to make a better world, make a better place, heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying if you care enough for the living. Make a better place for you and for me. And the dream we want to say in the way we take your place. In the world we want to live in will shine again in place. Then why do you think it's real? This earth is our soul. It's peace and it's family. In God's glory, fly so high. Let our spirits never die. In my heart, I feel you are all my promise. Create a world with no fear. Together we cry happy tears. See the nations turn their swords into bloodshed. We could really get there if you care enough for anything. Make a little space to make a better place. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying if you care enough for living. Make a better place for you and for me. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying if you care enough for living. Make a better place for you and for me. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying if you care enough for living. Make a better place for you and for me. There are people dying if you care enough for living. Make a better place for you and for me. There are people dying if you care enough for living. Make a better place for you and for me.
We at the Department of Education sincerely thank all the organizations and individuals who rallied behind us and supported our mission to deliver education amidst this terrible pandemic. Indeed, it will take an entire nation to raise our children, and in that endeavor, we thank all of you, parents, teachers, personnel, our partners, stakeholders, and all of you for believing and keeping faith with us amidst these challenges. This is for the future of our country and our children. Your continued support serves as an inspiration for us to further fulfill our duty and overcome all these varied challenges. Together, let us heal and let us triumph as one.
Ideas? And you, Mr. Fisher, the world keeps turning, right?
Nang sumiklab ang giyera sa Marawi, maraming buhay at kabuhayan ang nawala. Maraming kabahayan at paaralan ang napinsala. Sa kabila ng matinding suliranin, naging matagumpay ang DepEd na mabigyan ang mga mag-aaral ng pagkakataong ipagpatuloy ang edukasyon at muling bumangon sa sitwasyon. Habang naghihintay sa pagkumpuni at pagsasaayos ng mga paaralan, nagkaloob ang DepEd ng mga temporary learning shelters, remedial classes, learning kits, at feeding programs para sa mga tuloy sa pag-aaral ang mga apektado ng mag-aaral. Dahilan upang maantala ang normal na daloy ng pamumuhay at trabaho sa lahat ng sektor. Kabilang na ang kagawaran ng edukasyon. Nang ipatupad ang Luzon lockdown, inilunsad ang DepEd Common
This global community is big. In fact, it's enormous. Our MIEs love connecting. Monthly tweet meets are global gatherings of inspiring educators around big topics, and their Facebook group acts as a persistent home for discussions and shared activities. Another way teachers are learning within communities is through Microsoft Teams. Now, greater teacher collaboration improves teaching across schools, and Teams is the ultimate platform for a professional learning community. It's open-walled and socially embedded, so you can incorporate your OneNote Staff Notebook PLC and have access to all the goodness of video chat, phone, and collaboration tools. With Immersive Reader built in, it's inclusive and accessible on any device. Your learning community is just a click away. Last tip, our Microsoft Education Centre offers great ways to gain new skills with courses tailored uniquely to your needs. Make it a collaborative experience by picking a MEC course to do together with your peers. And as a bonus, you can practice collaborative learning by exploring a research paper, like the Class of 2030, and treat it just like a book club with your colleagues face-to-face or in Teams. The link to that research, it's in the description. Remember, learning is socially embedded. It's best done together for students and for teachers. Happy learning.
Year 2020 brought new beginnings for the Department of Education. Ready to pivot towards attaining quality education, DepEd was hopeful of the challenges ahead of it. But as DepEd continued to work on its commitment, the world suddenly faced a steeper dilemma. Around the globe, countries like the Philippines had to shift their priorities to respond to a public health crisis brought by COVID-19. Schools had to be closed, activities had to be halted, graduation ceremonies had to be canceled, as people were urged to stay at home. A new normal dawned upon us. As soon as DepEd realized the impact of these disruptions in education, it began to proactively craft its learning continuity plan last April to ensure that learning opportunities will still be available. Consulting with partners and advisors through the Education Forum, as well as legislators, teachers, parents, learners, and the general public, DepEd made sure its LCP encompasses the concerns of the whole education sector in responding to the crisis. Its topmost priority being the protection of the health, safety, and well-being of learners, teachers, and personnel. To make informed decisions, DepEd first analyzed relevant data and epidemiological picture for the incoming school year. DepEd also issued guidelines on its required health standards to be adopted in all public and private schools and DepEd offices following DOH and IATF protocols. It covers 4 COVID-19 mitigation objectives, namely, to increase physical and mental resilience, reduce transmission, reduce contact, and reduce duration of infection. The LCP also outlined how learning continuity will be ensured. It streamlines the K-12 curriculum into the most essential learning competencies and allows the use of distance learning, homeschooling, and blended learning modalities. Since conducting face-to-face classes will be a risk in most areas, DepEd has anchored its delivery of education to modular, online, TV and radio, or a combination of all. Guided by teachers, modular learning will allow learners to use self-learning modules in a format applicable to learners' capacity. In online distance learning, teachers will facilitate and engage learners' participation through the internet, whether synchronous or asynchronous. TV and radio-based instructions, on the other hand, are converted lessons fit for the broadcast medium. The LCP assures that all our learners, including our SPED, ALS, madrasa students can still access education even within the confines of their homes, and ensures that their household capacity will not hinder their right to education. To make this possible, our joint Brigada Escuela and Oplan Balik Escuela is assisting the preparations for the rollout of the LCP. On May 8, the LCP was approved by the IATF. The President also gave it his full support and expressed his commitment to meeting the financial demands of its execution. The implementation of the LCP will not be easy. It is not a perfect plan, and complications can be expected along the way. But extraordinary times call for extraordinary and proactive measures, and the Department of Education is ready to address the challenges along the way with the help of our national and local government, partners, parents, and learners. As one nation, learning opportunities shall be available in this brave new world for our Filipino children.
When you need the focus to be on you and not whatever that guy's doing, open Teams.
Hindi namin kayo mapapatawad! Gagantihan namin ng buong komunidad niyo! Subukan mo! Tutal na wasak na naman namin ang lahat ng ari-arian niyo!
Agi ng international humanitarian law na nagtatakda ng mga patakaran ng giyera o the rules of war. Ayon dito, huwag gawing target ang mga sibilyan at kanilang mga ari-arian. Tratuhin sa makataong paraan ang mga nabilanggo at protektahan ng mga doktor, nurse at mga ospital para paglingkuran ang mga sugatan at may sakit saan man panig sila nagmula. Alamin ang Geneva Conventions. Bisitahin ang www.therulesofwar.org.
Hi guys, so I just came from a meeting and I was just told that I would be leading this fundraising concert for International Students Day. And I have to present the plan to the school board next week. Okay, I'm going to need some help. Let me create a team space and invite my dream team. Sia, she knows all about the budgeting and stuff. Ivan, he knows all the kids from the performing arts group. Aisha, she worked on getting sponsorship last year. And Sam, because he's so cute. Let me lay out all tasks in Planner and kick things off. So, I'm almost done with my event concept and inspiration board. I just need Ivan to do some final tweaks and plug in the repertoire. Budget from SIA? Check. Sponsorship plan? Check. Done! Woo! When you start using Microsoft Teams, teamwork really does become easier. So now I'm heading over to present the plan to the school board. Wish me luck!
De Luna,
Present!
Herrera,
Present!
Valera.
Present!
Handa ba tayo sa school year 2020?
Present!
Ngayong taon, ang edukasyon tuloy pa rin. Sa tulong ng DepEd, mga guro at mga magulang, ang handang isip, handa bukas. Tuloy-tuloy ang pag-aaral. May mga modules para sa iba't ibang antas. Sa government TV, maging sa radyo, mahalagang ligtas ang ating mga estudyante at guro. Kaya kahit nasa bahay, tuloy ang edukasyon. Kung tulong-tulong, may paraan, may aralan.
Handang isip, handa bukas.
Bisitahin ang DepEd Philippines sa Facebook at ang deped.gov.ph.
If you spend more time tracking down files than actually working on them, open Teams.
The COVID-19 pandemic has brought unprecedented changes to our usual ways of living. But the Department of Education remains unfazed by these challenges to fulfill the mission of Sulong Edukalidad, the rallying call for national effort to deliver quality basic education to all Filipinos, which involve aggressive reforms in the 4 key areas: the K-12 curriculum review and update, improving the learning environment, teachers upskilling and reskilling, and engagement of stakeholders for support and collaboration to move forward together as we prepare the education system for the future. The call for Sulong Edukalidad will continue, and we have built the framework of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan, or the BELCP, to put the needs of the learners at top priority. DepEd's BELCP is the major response and commitment to media, industry groups, NGOs, business and private individuals. Sulong Edukalidad will be able to sustain the aims in its reform for quality basic education. In our journey towards quality education, we have established the 4 pillars of aggressive reforms from the start, and we have been continuing to progress in these pillars. In improving the learning environment, we took action in the construction and rehabilitation of school buildings, ensured the availability of learning materials and equipment, and prioritized our last mile schools. The challenges of the pandemic also brought to light the urgent need to upgrade our ICT infrastructure to service the needs of education. In terms of the teachers upskilling and reskilling, we were able to establish more innovative professional standards for teachers and school heads. We have aligned the professional development of teachers with their career progression to track their development as part of the National Educators Academy of the Philippines transformation. With the launch of the Education Futures program, where we will be focusing on innovative actions and solutions to improve the state of our education, we are now more than ready to start a new journey and continue our fight for quality education for all Filipino learners. Finally, We've given high importance to the engagement of stakeholders for support and collaboration. In support of this, we have convened the Philippine Forum for Accessible Quality Basic Education, or the Education Forum, which will leverage other partnerships for education quality and strengthen partnership with the Philippine Normal University as the country's national center for teacher education. The department has also been developing a professional development program for teachers and school leaders in order to equip them with the skills, materials, and data that will allow them to help their students prepare for PISA 2022. This intervention consists of the following components: online training for teachers and school leaders, development of learning materials, and practice tests for students, deepening the analysis of the PISA 2018 results, and supporting school-level action research. Now that the year is about to end, our commitment to Sulong Edukalidad will continue and will be far from being gone. With a lot at stake, considering our new knowledge and experience from this year's challenges, we are equipped to face a new future. As we head on to the future where we will face many challenges and uncertainties, the department will always be the guardian of every Filipino learner's right to education.
Sino ba ang hindi naapektuhan? Sino ba ang hindi nag-alala? Sino ba ang hindi nalito? Lahat tayo ay naapektuhan. Lahat tayo ay nag-aalala. Lahat tayo ay nalito. Dahil binago ng pandemyang dulot ng COVID-19, ang paraan ng pamumuhay ng lahat ng mga Pilipino saan mang sektor ka nabibilang. Tumigil ang panandalian ang ating mga nakagawian. Tumigil ang lahat ng uri ng transaksyon. Tumigil ang lahat ng operasyon ng mga paaralan. Nakalilito. Nakakakaba. Paano na ang kinabukasan ng mga kabataan? Paano na tayo sa hinaharap? Opisyal na nilulunsad ng Kagawaran ng Edukasyon sa pangunguna ng Office of the Undersecretary for Curriculum and Instruction ang DepEd Teaches. Ito ay isang online na programa na gagabay sa mga guro, tagapangasiwa, magulang at mag-aaral hinggil sa mga pagbabago sa batayang edukasyon ngayong new normal. Ang DepEd Teaches ay angkla sa sulong edukalidad na nakatuon sa apat na pangunahing pangangailangan ng mapunyaging reforma tungo sa makalidad na pagtuturo at pagkatuto. Una, pagre-review at pagsasapanahon ng kurikulum ng K-12. Ikalawa, pagpapaunlad ng kapaligiran pampagkatuto. Ikatlo, paglinang ng mga bagong kasanayan sa mga guro. At ang ikaapat, ang pakikipag-ugnay sa mga stakeholder para sa suporta at kolaborasyon. Sa pamamagitan ng virtual learning platform, ang DepEd Teaches ang magsisilbing bukas na komunidad ng pagsasanay na titipon sa mga guro, tagapamunong pang-edukasyon at sa sinumang may pagnanais sa pagtataguyod ng kalidad na edukasyon sa bansa at sa pagtagumpay ng bawat Pilipinong mag-aaral. Ang mga opisyal, education specialist, learning content expert at outstanding teacher ng DepEd ang magiging tagapanayam na magbabahagi ng kanilang kaalaman at kasanayan sa kurikulum, pagtuturo at pagkatuto, pagtataya at lahat ng kaugnay na mahalaga sa proseso ng pagtuturo at pagkatuto sa new normal. Bilang mga frontliner ng classroom, inaasahang magiging aktibo ang mga guro sa programang ito. Ang mga tema at paksa ay angkop sa kanilang pangangailangan at konteksto. sa pamamagitan ng accessible na platform, ang social media. Sumali na sa OUCI family sa DepEd Teaches, kung sama-sama mapahuhusay pa ang mga guro, kung sama-sama higit na malilinang natin ang mga mag-aaral.
A healthy and prosperous 2021 to all our Facebook Live audience, especially to our Facebook pages, the DepEd Philippines, DepEd Tayo, and to our new Facebook page, the DepEd Teaches. We invite all of you to like, follow, and share our DepEd Teaches Facebook page, and don't forget the hashtag ISupportDepEdTeaches. Just a briefer, especially to our new viewers, the Office of the Undersecretary for Curriculum and Instruction launched the DepEd Teaches last December 14 as one way to provide technical assistance to the teachers in the field in this new normal. And within the 4 consecutive episodes last month, more than 300,000 successfully registered and accomplished the evaluation. So from the Office of the Undersecretary of Curriculum and Instruction, we thank you so much for your continuous support. This gives us motivation to work harder and even improve the quality of our service as we concretize DepEd Teaches' mission of empowering teachers, enabling learners. Hello, Miss Anna. Good afternoon and Happy New Year. I hope you had a restful holiday. Can you tell us what exciting surprises do we have for our viewers for this year that they could look forward to?
Happy 2021 to all our live audience on DepEd Teaches. And good afternoon, Sir July. So we want to start fresh with a positive mindset, and we are hopeful that things will get better this year. I want to start with the good news that DepEd Teaches will be streaming live every Thursday at 2 p.m. Isn't it wonderful? Because all of us will have a weekly dose of power presentations from our esteemed leaders and outstanding teachers, exclusive here in DepEd Teaches.
So there's going to be a weekly live episode of DepEd Teaches. To our viewers, save it in your calendar now and invite more friends and colleagues to watch and join every Thursday at 2 p.m. Ma'am Ana, what topics have we prepared to our viewers?
You know, what makes DepEd Teaches more relevant, Sir July, is that all topics selected here came from the results of the needs analysis that we almost gathered from 150,000 respondents. Can you just imagine that huge figure that helped us decide in formulating the topics? So this is data-driven. Definitely, we have a strong basis on what discussions should be prioritized because we heard your voice and we value so much your opinion. In fact, we've outlined already the upcoming presentations with our stellar roster of speakers, none other than our instructional leaders. And on top of that, we will tackle different areas such as curriculum and planning, learning environment, content knowledge and pedagogy, assessment, community linkages, professional growth, and personal development. So many good things to start this year and to be thankful. And we hope our followers will increase in numbers. So again, don't forget to like and share our Facebook page, DepEd Teaches.
That's right, Miss Anna. Please join our online community with the new official Facebook page, the DepEd Teaches FB page. Indeed, it's going to be an exciting year for everyone. Continuous learning is not just for the learners, but even for our dear teachers. At this point, let us listen to the short video message from the proponent of DepEd Teaches, our hard-working Undersecretary for Curriculum and Instruction. Please welcome Yusek Diosdado M. San Antonio.
Teachers and fellow leaders for learning and fellow parents, welcome back to our DepEd Teaches. We at the Curriculum and Instruction strand of the Department of Education Central Office are very desirous to provide this platform where we will be able to provide continuous updates on matters and issues that are very important to ensure that our youngsters, learners in the K-12 program, are able to really understand, master, and fully learn the most essential learning competencies we have identified for the Filipino children as we deliver basic education services during these COVID-19 times. Be assured that the sharings from our regional directors and exemplary superintendents, principals, and fellow teachers, and even supervisors that will be featured in the forthcoming episodes will really be able to inspire you all to find ways of ensuring that learning happens, even in very trying times. Let me just say thank you to our DepEd Teaches team at the central office and the regional directors who have fully embraced and supported this trust. We look forward to more of you, fellow teachers, spreading the news that there's a channel, there's a platform where we can continue to interact and learn together so that the policy initiatives will be translated into effective practices to ensure that learning will continue and our learners will become ready to be competitive in this so-called 21st century Industry 4.0 and new world. Mabuhay po tayong lahat. God bless.
Thank you, Yusek San Antonio, for that wonderful message. Sir July, before we proceed to the main presentation, haven't we prepared a short interactive activity for our live audience right now?
That's correct, Ma'am Ana. We prepared 3 questions. And for our live participants, live viewers, please type in your answers by writing your name, school, and letter of the correct answer in the comment section of DepEd Philippines FB page. Again, we will be giving 3 questions and our participants are encouraged to write their answers in the comment section of DepEd Philippines FB page. Write your name, school, and letter of your correct answer. I hope our viewers are ready now. So this would be our first item, our question number 1. All of these topics were discussed in the pilot episodes of DepEd Teaches, except blank. A, curriculum. B, learning resources. C, community linkages. Or D, assessment. May I repeat it again? All of these topics were discussed in the pilot episodes last year of DepEd Teaches, except A, curriculum. B, learning resources. C, community linkages. Or D, assessment. To our FB viewers, please comment now your answers.
All right, so from our Facebook page, okay, so we can see that our viewers So almost all our viewers got the correct answer, which is letter C. So last year, remember, we talked about curriculum, modalities, learning resources, and assessment. Good job, everyone. What's the next question, Sir July?
For question number 2, Ma'am Ana. So again, our participants, kindly write again your answers in the comment section of our FB page. And this question will test our viewers' listening skill. If they are paying attention to what you have said a while ago, Ma'am Ana. I hope our viewers are ready now for our second question. So our second question is, how many times will DepEd Teaches be shown live streamed? A, once in a week. B, twice every 2 months. C, every day. D, every Tuesday and Thursday. Once again, how many times will DepEd Teaches be shown live streamed? A, once in a week. B, twice every 2 months. B, every day, or C, every day, or D, every Tuesday and Thursday. To our FB viewers, please comment now your answers.
All right. So based on the answer from our very active viewers, I'm glad they have good listening skills because they got the correct answer, which is letter A, once in a week, every Thursday at 2 p.m. So what's our last question, Sir July?
Okay, that's great to hear, Ma'am Ana. So this is our last question, and this question is an open-ended question. I hope our live viewers are ready now for our third question, and the question is this. What do you think is our topic today? So again, what do you think is our topic for today? Please write your answer now in the comment section of our live stream in FB page.
All right, so to confirm your prediction, we will now give the screen to our invited resource person today. So it is my honor to introduce to you Dr. Maria Irelyn P. Tamayo, who finished her Master's of Arts in English at De La Salle University and her PhD in Literature at Philippine Normal University. Dr. Tamayo is an educational management test passer and a career service executive eligible.
Our resource speaker is currently the OIC Schools Division Superintendent of SDO Angeles City in Region 3. Let us all welcome Dr. Maria Irelyn P. Tamayo as she delivers a power presentation about designing lessons to achieve learning standards for distance learning modalities. Let us all give her a virtual round of applause.
Magandang hapon, Pilipinas. Mayap agat manapon po kaya kayungan. Sa ngalan po ng aming Regional Director, Madam May B. Eclar, at sa ngalan din po ng aming Assistant Regional Director, Madam Rhoda P. Rason, ako po si Maria Irelyn P. Tamayo ng SDO Angeles City upang makasama po ninyo ngayong hapon. This afternoon, we will be sharing with you instructional design for distance learning modalities. And as we all know, dear teachers, when we say distance learning modalities, we may mean online distance learning or modular distance learning. So to start with, let us look at the two concepts of instructional design. So when we say instructional design, the first concept will involve a set of events that facilitate learning. So here, we teachers will prepare a series of events that will lead to our students' mastery of the subject matter or attainment of the learning competencies for that particular subject. The second concept of instructional design is it is a creative pattern or a rational, logical, sequential process intended to solve problems. So as teachers, when we are involved in this so-called instructional design, we will be preparing rational, logical, and sequential processes which will redound again to mastery of learning standards, whether content or content standards or learning standards, as well as mastery of the subject matter. So here are some additional concepts about instructional design from a number of experts. When we say instructional design, it is the creation of learning experiences and materials in a manner that results in the acquisition and application of knowledge and skills. So we teachers, we want to create remarkable and noteworthy learning experiences for our pupils and students, as well as prepare instructional materials that will result in the acquisition of knowledge, concepts, ideas, as well as the application of lifelong skills. This discipline or principle of instructional design follows a systematic approach. First, we will be involved in the assessment of needs. And whose needs will we assess? Of course, the end users of the material that we will be preparing, our learners. We want to assess our learners' needs in terms of their interest, their abilities, the resources that are available within their reach, and the like. Then, based on this assessed needs of our learners, we will design a process wherein the material will in itself will be developed and then presented to our learners for utilization. However, after the utilization of the material, the instructional design process will not stop. We still have to evaluate the effectiveness of the material, and then from the evaluation, we may still revise the material to improve its effectiveness and its efficiency. Oh, wait, before we move on further, why are we talking about instructional design in the arena of distance learning modalities? Well, let us review or reminisce first the events that led us to the kind of educational setup that we have today. So let's look at this very short video. All right. So as we all know and as we have experienced, the COVID-19 pandemic has drastically changed the educational setup, not only in our country, but all over the world. If before we enjoy face-to-face instruction, collaborate with our learners inside our own classrooms, now we teachers have to meet our learners in a so-called virtual classroom, or we meet our learners through the module or the self-learning module that is given to them and that our learners accomplish within the confines of their homes. So it's a difficult situation for us teachers to deliver the competencies in the different subject matter assigned to us in order for our learners to achieve the learning standards and the so-called mastery of subject matter. In that case, we can say that we can fulfill our mission as teachers. So for this part of our sharing, we will be presenting to you the instructional design approach or methodology that our teachers had undergone in DepEd Angeles City in order to prepare what we call as learning activity sheets. So these learning activity sheets are actually prepared by our teachers following the principles of instructional design. The activities that you will find in this so-called LAS target the development of the 6 cognitive processes or dimensions as stipulated in DepEd Order number 8, series of 2015 and DepEd Order 42, series of 2016. Do you still remember the 6 cognitive processes or dimensions? They are remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So our learning activity sheets are patterned with the end goal of developing among our learners these 6 cognitive processes or dimensions. The learning activity sheets that our teachers at STO Angeles City had designed are based on the most essential learning competencies, or the so-called MELCs. And they serve as supplementary materials for the self-learning modules provided by the central office and by the regional office. So here, as mentioned a while ago, one of the best features of our LAS will be the development of the 6 cognitive dimensions among our learners. At the end, as our learners traverse through the activities in our so-called LAS, they will be able to say that they have become blooming butterflies. Our activities do not just center on remembering, understanding, and applying, but we take our learners to the higher order thinking skills. In some of our activities, our learners are able to justify their decision or course of action, and they are able to generate new ideas, products, or ways of thinking or viewing things. And these are evaluating and creating respectively. So let me take you to the parts of the learning activity sheets that our teachers had actually designed for our kind of learners here at STO Angeles City. So the first part of our LAS is the so-called panimula or susing konsepto or background information. So the first part of the LAS, our learners will read key concepts, or our learners will be provided background information regarding the lesson at hand. Let me give you some samples in order for you to actually visualize what I am talking about. Our first example is from our learning activity sheet in Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao, Grade 5. So, the kasanayang pampagkatuto in this particular sample LAS is napahahalagahan ng mag-aaral ang katotohanan sa pamamagitan ng pagsusuri sa mga balitang napakinggan, patalastas na nabasa o narinig, napanood na programang pan-telebisyon o nabasa sa internet. So as you can see, my dear teachers, our particular LAS are actually based on the MELTs. That was what I mentioned a while ago. So based on this particular kasanayang pampagkatuto in edukasyon sa pagpapakatao grade 5, this is the susing konsepto as written in the LAS. Ang mga gawaing ito ay sadyang nilikha upang higit mong mapagyaman ang iyong mga kaalaman at kasanayan sa aralin na ito, lalo na sa iyong pagtatangi at pagpapahalaga sa katotohanan. Ang katotohanan ay ang pagsang-ayon ng kaisipan sa realidad. Kaya sinasabi na ang katotohanan ay siyang magpapalaya sa atin dahil hindi maaaring mabuhay ng matiwasay at malaya ang tao kung siya ay bilanggo ng kasinungalingan na siyang kabaliktaran ng realidad. Ang realidad ay kung ano ang nagaganap sa kasalukuyan. Ito ay nakikita at nararamdaman. Sa pagtatangi at pagpapahalaga sa katotohanan, nakasalalay ang pananagutang pansarili at kabutihan ng pamilya. So, mga kasamang guro, nakita po natin na sa susing konsepto ay parang ibinibigay na sa ating mga mag-aaral kung ano ang kasanayang pampagkatuto. Ano ba ang katotohanan? No? So maikikintal na sa kaisipan ng ating mga grade 5 learners na pag kanilang niyakap ang katotohanan, hindi sila magiging bilanggo ng kasinungalingan. Ang katotohanan ang siyang magpapalaya sa kanila. So that is actually the oft-repeated saying, the truth will set us free. So that is only the background information or the key concept as presented in the LAS. Okay, so let us go to a learning activity sheet in Math Grade 6 and try to find out how the teacher who actually designed this LAS presented the background information. So the learning competency for this LAS is the student or the grade 6 pupil should be able to multiply decimals and mixed decimals with factors up to 2 decimal places. And the grade 6 pupils should be able to multiply mentally decimals up to 2 decimal places by 0.1, 0.01, 10, and 100. Wow! Math is oftentimes perceived to be a difficult subject. And for a learning activity sheet without the teacher beside the learner, how will these particular competencies be presented to the learners? Through the susing concepto or the background information. So here is a part of the background information for learners in this LAS. Letter A, that is a part of the first objective, no? Multiplies decimals and mixed decimals with factors up to 2 decimal places. So there is a short discussion in the LAS. To multiply decimals, ignore the decimal points and multiply as if they are whole numbers. Place the decimal point in the product based on the total number of decimal places in the factors. Count the number of decimal places from the right to the left. But actually, this is not the end of the background information. Since this is mathematics, there should be an illustration or an example. This is still part of the first part of our LAS, which is the key concept or background information. So here, the example is about Ruel's dried flowers collection. Ruel loves to collect different kinds of dried flowers and put them in frames. In one of his framed collection, he mounted 12 dried flowers with same weight. If each dried flower weighs 0.43 gram, what is the total weight of the dried flowers? So here, we have illustrated the solution and the steps. All right, so that is only part of the background information in the learning activity sheets designed by our teachers. So what have we gathered so far? In the first part of our learning activity sheets, we provide our learners with key concepts or background information for them to have key notes or key ideas for them to understand the lesson and perform the competency in the long run. Okay, so after the panimula or susing konsepto, we go to gawain 1 or activity 1. So this is actually the second part of the learning activity sheets that we designed. Let's try to look at the example before I tell you the purpose of gawain 1 or activity 1. This time, let's have MAPE for grade 6. The competency and code for this particular LAS is for our grade 6 learners to differentiate orally among 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, and 6/8 time signatures. So what is their first activity? Okay, so they are asked to study the given musical composition entitled We Welcome You, and they are tasked to answer given questions. So here, the musical composition appears in their LAS. So applying the key concepts or the background information presented a while ago in their learning activity sheet, they will be able to answer the given questions. So what are the given questions? Look at them very well, my dear teachers. What is the time signature of the song? What kinds of notes are used in the song? How many measures are there in the song? Where does the first and last beat fall? If you will look at the structure of the questions, they will be answered usually by the learner by applying what cognitive dimension? The first one, right? Remembering. Okay, so remembering what are the different time signatures in order to apply them to the given song, the kinds of notes, no, the measures present in the song, and where the first and last beat would fall. Okay, so these are still lower order thinking skills since this is only the first activity after the background information or the key concept. Let's have another example for activity 1. This time in another subject. Let's have a sample from Araling Panlipunan 5 or what we usually call as ARPAN. So nakasanayang pampagkatuto sa learning activity sheet na ito na ipaliliwanag ng ating grade 5 learners ang kaugnayan ng lokasyon sa paghubog ng kasaysayan. So yun ang end goal natin. So pagkatapos na nagawa ng ating mga mag-aaral yung mga activities sa LAS, na ipapaliwanag na ng mag-aaral ang kaugnayan ng lokasyon sa paghubog ng kasaysayan. Remember, we are only on gawain 1 or activity 1. So ano yung previous part ng LAS? Di ba background information? So nagbigay ng background information ang guro na nag-design ng LAS. So heto yung unang gawain. Naka-label na siya na ang dinidevelop dito sa mag-aaral ay yung unang cognitive dimension o remembering. No? Ayusin ang mga titik upang mabuo ang salitang tinutukoy sa pangungusap. Ito po yung tatlong halimbawa. Una, ang paraan ng pagtukoy ng mga katubigang nakapalibot sa Pilipinas. O siyempre, dapat naintindihan nila yung susing konsepto na nabasa nila before ng gawain na ito. So pero remembering pa rin, no? So ano ba yung sagot dito? Ayusin natin yung mga letra o yung mga titik. So insular ang kasagutan diyan. Pangalawa, ang mga distansya sa pagitan ng mga linyang paralel, pahilaga o patibok ng Ecuador. O, alam niyo yung sagot dito, latitude. At ikatlo, ang paraan ng pagtukoy sa kinalalagyan ng isang lugar sa pamamagitan ng mga imahinasyong guhit na makikita sa mapa at globo. Alam niyo to, para siyang brand name ng mineral water. Naku, parang ako ay nag-a-advertise. Absolute. Di po ba? So, kung inyo pong ma-observe, ito ay mga, kumbaga sa pagtuturo ng reading. No? Kung kayo po ay guro sa Filipino o sa Ingles, ito po ay mga literal na mga questions or questions that fall under the literal level. Dahil po, remembering pa po ang cognitive dimension na dinidevelop sa mga mag-aaral sa gawain 1. Okay. So, susunod. Pagkatapos ng gawain 1, syempre, may ikalawang gawain o ang tinatawag na activity 2. Here, we take our learners to the higher order thinking skills, more than remembering, no? More than understanding. Let's see po. Ito ay galing sa learning activity sheet ng Filipino para sa mga grade 10 learners. Ano ang kasanayang pampagkatuto dito? Ang mga mag-aaral ay may kapabilidad na nakapagbibigay ng reaksyon sa mga kaisipan o ideya na tinalakay sa akda, makatotohanan ba o di makatotohanan ang mga pangyayari sa maikling kwento. May ikalawa siyang kasanayang pampagkatuto na tatalakay ng mga mag-aaral ang mga bahagi ng pinanood na nagpapakita ng mga isyong pandaigdig. Naku, nakikita nyo pa lang po ang mga kasanayang pampagkatuto dahil po pang grade 10 na ang mga to, lubhang mabigat na po. No? Nagbibigay ng reaksyon, natatalakay ang mga bahagi ng pinanood kung napapakita ng mga isyong pandaigdig. So ano po ang ikalawang gawain na makikita sa learning activity sheet na dinesign ng guru dito? Meron po siyang titulo, Ipaliwanag mo, pakikinggan ko. Tignan po natin ang panuto. Suriin mong mabuti ang pahayag at isulat mo sapat lang ang iyong sariling interpretasyon. Sikapin mong maging maayos, wasto ang pagbabaybay ng mga salita at paggamit ng mga bantas. Dapat din na angkop ang iyong paliwanag sa pahayag. Narito ang rubric sa gawain 2 para may gabay ka sa iyong pagsagot. Alright. Heto po yung pinapapaliwanag sa ating mag-aaral na mga grade 10, no? Hindi perpekto ang buhay ko, pero meron akong Panginoon na nagpapakontento sa kung anong meron ako. So yan pong dalawang pangungusap na yan, no, ay ipapaliwanag ng mag-aaral using the following guide questions. Heto po yung mga gabay na tanong. Sumasang-ayon ka ba sa pahayag? Bakit? So nakikita natin, no, babasahin ng grade 10 learner ito, kailangan niyang maintindihan ang sinasabi ng dalawang pangungusap para masagot niya ang unang tanong, sumasang-ayon ba siya o hindi? Pero pag sinabi niyang oo, sumasang-ayon siya, merong kasunod na tanong, bakit? Pangalawang tanong, kailangan ba ang karangyaan para masabing kontento ka na sa buhay? Bakit? So higher level order thinking skills na po yan na nagiging instrumento para makamit po ng bata ang mastery ng competency o ng kasanayang pampagkatuto na nakalagay po sa ating MELTS. At ikatlo, ano ba ang totoong karangyaan para sa iyo? Di po ba? So yung learner, magfo-form na siya ng kanyang sariling konsepto kung ano ba ang karangyaan para sa kanya. No? So gawain 2 pa lang yan, pero dahil grade 2 learners na po, mabilis po ang transition from lower order to higher order thinking skills na po ang nadi-develop, no, sa ating mga mag-aaral sa parting ito. Heto po yung pamantayan na ibinigay sa ating LAS. Kaayusan at kalinisan ng pagkakasulat. So from a range of 1 to 10, syempre po ang highest ay 10, no po? Ang lowest ay 1. Ano po yung rating ng guro? Wastong pagkakabaybay at pagbabantas, kaangkupan ng paliwanag sa pahayag, ano ang kabuuang puntos, at mga puna o yung tinatawag nating remarks sa Ingles. No? Makikita po dyan, individual rating score, makikita po ng guro kung nakakasunod po ang bata sa competency na dinidevelop sa particular na learning activity sheet na ito. At pwede pong magbigay ng individual feedback ang guro dahil meron po siyang rubric. Okay, still gawain 2. Tignan natin. Punta na tayo sa gawain 3 o activity 3. Naku, pataas na ng pataas ang level ng cognitive dimension na ating dinidevelop sa mga mag-aaral sa activity 3. O, bigyan natin ng halimbawa, bakit nasabi ko ito? Bumalik tayo sa asignatura na edukasyon sa pagpapakatao. This time po sa grade 9. Okay? So ano ang kasanayang pampagkatuto para sa mga grade 9 learners? Na ipaliliwanag ng grade 9 learners ang dahilan kung bakit may lipunang politikal. Na ipapaliwanag ang prinsipyo ng subsidiarity at ang prinsipyo ng pagkakaisa. Ikalawa, natataya ang pag-iral o kawalan sa pamilya, paaralan, barangay, pamayanan o lipunan o bansa ng prinsipyo ng subsidiarity at prinsipyo ng pagkakaisa. So, habang tayo ay bumabaybay dito, no? Mag-recall po tayo. Siguro iisipin niyo, ang batayang konsepto o ang susing konsepto dito ay siguradong ipapaliwanag yung lipunang politikal, prinsipyo ng subsidiarity at prinsipyo ng pagkakaisa. Tama po kayo. Pero ang binibigyan natin ng diin ngayon ay ang gawain 3. Ano ang makikitang ikatlong gawain sa mga mag-aaral sa learning activity sheet na ito? Atin pong suriin, no, ang halimbawa na atin pong nakikita sa ating mga screen. Ito po yung panuto. Suriin kung may pag-iral o kawalan ng pag-iral ng prinsipyo ng subsidiarity o pagtutulungan at ng prinsipyo ng solidarity o pagkakaisa sa sumusunod na sektor: pamilya, paaralan, barangay o pamayanan, at lipunan o bansa. Hindi lang po yun, no? Magbigay ng halimbawa ng mga sitwasyon o pagkakataong pinairal ang dalawang prinsipyo at halimbawa ng mga sitwasyon o pagkakataong hindi pinairal ang mga ito. Gawing gabay ang talahanayan para maayos at organisado ang iyong gawain. Hayan po yung sinasabing talahanayan. No? Makikita po yan sa learning activity sheet ng bata. So, ano ba ang pagkakaintindi niya sa prinsipyo ng subsidiarity? Importante po iyon. Pero, higher level po, pinaiiral ba ang prinsipyong ito sa pamilya, sa paaralan, sa barangay o pamayanan, lipunan o bansa? Kung pinaiiral, maglalagay po ang learner dyan ng halimbawa. Kung hindi pinaiiral, maglalagay din siya ng halimbawa. So makikita po natin, hindi sapat na alam ng mag-aaral ang difference, no, ng prinsipyo ng subsidiarity o prinsipyo ng solidarity. Dapat po ay nai-apply niya sa nakikita niya sa realidad. Umiiral nga ba to o hindi pinaiiral? Ano yung aking mga halimbawa? No? Ano ang aking mga depensa para sabihin kung pinaiiral ito o hindi pinaiiral? Ang ganda po, no? So, makikita natin ulit na hindi tayo nag-i-stay dun sa remembering, understanding, applying, higher level. Our students try to create their own learning based on what they see and based on experiences. Okay. So, susunod po. Punta po tayo sa gawain 4 o yung ika-4 na activity sa learning activity sheets na dinesign po ng ating mga guro. No? So, review po tayo. No? So, makikita yung susing konsepto, background information, first activity na parang literal level questions lang, gawain 2, papunta na sa higher level, gawain 3, solid higher level na, meron pang gawain 4. Let's look at our examples here. This time in English for grade 7. So learning competency. Our grade 7 learners at the end of the lesson or the end of their accomplishment of these learning activity sheets will be able to research a topic with support using 2 or 3 sources provided. For example, newspaper, website, video, images, podcast, print-based material. Yan, naku. Grade 7 po yan. Pero ang competency, magre-research sila ukol sa isang topic but using 2 or 3 sources. Ano ang gawain 4 nila? What will be their 4th activity in their LAS? Look at this. Research a topic about COVID-19 and write a short informative essay with a minimum of 5 sentences to a maximum of 10 sentences with at least 3 sources of information. Print, digital, or audiovisual should be used to support your thoughts and ideas. Look at the directions po. No? So clear, ano yung topic na pinapa-research about COVID-19? Oh yes, the grade 7 learners could do the research. Okay. After doing research, the direction sets the next pace. They will be writing a short informative essay, and the rules are specific. The informative essay should have a minimum of 5 sentences and a maximum of 10 sentences, but with a condition. There should be at least 3 sources of information to support the thoughts and ideas of the learner. See, my dear teachers, higher order thinking skills for gawain 4, for activity 4. Okay. Sige. And then, after this particular instruction, a standard rubrics will be provided to the students to guide them in preparing or in writing the informative essay. Of course, when there is a creative task, we always have a rubric as part of the LAS. Next, this example is from our TLE subject, focusing on travel services. So what's the learning objective? Our students should be able to identify markets and destinations. Sub-objectives: explain why people travel and the needs, aspirations, and motives of travelers. Explain the difference between leisure travelers and business travelers. Look at the questions, no? Let's juxtapose the learning objectives and the questions for the activity number 4. The students are asked to answer questions in 1 to 2 paragraphs. Look at the first question. Why do a number of people love to travel or visit different places? And let's review the first objective. explain why people travel and the needs, aspirations, and motives of travelers. Swak na swak, di po ba? So when they answer the first question, why do a number of people love to travel or visit different places? They're already able to accomplish the first objective. Second question, if you were given a chance to choose, which do you prefer? Travel for leisure or travel for business, and why? Look at our second objectives as juxtaposed. If they are able to explain the difference between leisure travelers and business travelers, they would have a basis for their choice. So knowing what leisure traveling is and what business traveling is, they have a basis for their choice. So if they chose travel for leisure, then why? If they chose travel for business, why? See? So here, the objectives match the questions in the activity. Vice versa, the questions in the activity are actually the vehicle, no, or the instrument for the students' attainment of the objectives. Okay. Now, let's go to the last activity in our LAS, Gawain 4 or creating. Actually, it's the last activity in the sense that it's labeled as Gawain 4 or Activity 4. But of course, we have the last part of the LAS later. So Gawain 4 or Activity 4 focuses on the last cognitive dimension, which is creating. No? So let's look at one good example of a particular activity which will make the learners create something from what they have learned. So this is again from edukasyon sa pagpapakatao. Ano ang panuto? Ang sabi, gumawa ng isang advocacy material laban sa mga kumakalat na fake news ngayon sa social media bilang pagpapakita ng iyong pagpapahalaga sa katotohanan. Ilahad ito sa pamamagitan ng malikhaing gawain, halimbawa, tula, awit, slogan, poster, at iba pa. Gawin ito sa bond paper o Oslo paper. Kung ikaw ay may internet, maaari mong i-upload sa social media gaya ng Facebook ang iyong ginawang advocacy material bilang pagsasanggalang at pagpapalaganap ng wasto at tamang impormasyon na nakabatay lamang sa katotohanan. Hindi mo ito kailangang gawin kung ikaw ay walang internet. Sapat na ang iyong gawain sa bond paper o Oslo paper na iyong isusumite kalakip ng iyong LAS. So, himayin po natin ng bahagya ang panuto dahil po gusto nating ikintal sa ating kaisipan yung creating na cognitive dimension. So dito, ang bata ay pinagagawa ng advocacy material. Ano yung topic? Laban sa fake news. Paano niyo ito gagawin? It's something creative, no? An advocacy material will be made by our learners. It may be in the form of a poem, a song, a slogan, or a poster. So still advocating the multiple intelligences principle. All right? And then if this will be their choice, they can prepare their advocacy material using bond paper or Oslo paper. But the panuto gives an option. If the learner has internet access, he or she can prepare the advocacy material and upload it, no, via Facebook or another form of social media, as long as it will serve its purpose of advocating against fake news, no? So makikita nyo dito sa last part, no, talagang inulit pa, hindi mo kailangang gawin kung ikaw ay walang internet, sapat na ang bond paper o Oslo paper. Sa LAS, nagbigay tayo ng sample ng advocacy material. Kamukha nito, and of course, as usual, if this is a creative activity, there should be a rubric that accompanies it. Okay? So, yun po ang activity 4, no? Taking our students to the last cognitive dimension, which is creating something from what they had learned. Okay. So what's the last part of our LAS? It involves our learners' reflection. If you remember, as teachers, during the pre-pandemic days, we prepare our so-called DLLs, no? Our daily lesson logs. There is the reflection part. So here in our learning activity sheets, we also place a reflection part. Let's have a sample for Math 7. What's the learning competency? Our grade 7 learners should be able to perform operations on rational numbers. So here's the reflection part. I'll read the first paragraph. I have learned that if A, B, and C denote integers and B is not equal to 0, then A over B plus C over B is equal to blank. I also knew that every rational number except blank has a unique reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 5 over 4 is blank. Fractions having the same denominators are called blank, while a fraction containing a whole number and a fraction is called blank. So here you will see po, as the learner fills in the blanks to complete the paragraphs, he or she will be able to reflect on what he or she has learned as he or she completes the activities in the learning activity sheets. Look at the last part, though I will not read it en toto. I realized that to add or subtract decimals, arrange the digits in, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's a sample reflection part in the Math 7 LAS. Let's look at another sample reflection part using another subject. All right, this time in science for grade 9. Do you still remember your chemistry subject? I hope there are chemistry teachers watching us this afternoon. The learning competency is use the mole concept to express mass of substances. So there, in the LAS, you will see the mole concept. So what's the reflection part? The last part of the LAS, after the students traverse the background information, activity 1, 2, 3, and 4. Did you learn about the mole concept? Why? No? So the learner would reflect. What part of the mole concept did you enjoy doing? Why? What part of the mole concept did you find difficult to do? Why? So our learners will have the chance on their own to reflect on the kind of learning experience that they had as they accomplish the module or the learning activity sheet. So we had already shared with you the different parts of the learning activity sheet that our teachers had designed here at SDO Angeles City. To recapitulate everything, let us look at the Hanafin and Peck instructional design model. Okay, so this was what our teachers had actually followed together with our education program supervisors. No? So to start, the first phase, there's a needs assessment. No? So we look at the needs. Here is the COVID-19 pandemic, no face-to-face classroom interaction, but education must continue. So we have to prepare learning materials suited to our learners' needs, interests, abilities, the resources that they have at home, their capacity for independent learning, the presence of parents or guardians in their respective homes to assist them in their distance learning modality. So we have to find that out, no? So what are the available resources that we have? Yes, we have the self-learning modules, but are they enough? So we said the self-learning modules are not enough because there are some subjects which do not have self-learning modules. So we use the instructional design model to produce learning activity sheets. So we moved to phase 2. We designed activity sheets, no, focusing on the 6 cognitive dimensions, no. We want our students to master not only lower order, but more importantly, higher order thinking skills, in spite of the fact that there is no face-to-face learning. So the design process, very painful, very tiring. But as we always say, if any activity, no matter how tiring it may be, no matter how stressful it may be, but if it would be for our learners, then we do it joyfully, no? And then we were able to develop the activity sheets, implement them during the first weeks of classes. Then did we relax? No, we did not. After the first week of classes, we gathered feedback from the field. We evaluated the feedbacks, no? And then we did the revision. What were the major feedbacks? Some of our learners or a number of our learners find it difficult to complete all the activities in our LAS, since every day they had to really answer different activity sheets in 8 subject areas. Very difficult, right? So what we have to make major adjustments, major revisions. So we lessen the number of activities in our LAS, and at the same time, our teachers prepared weekly home learning plans stipulating what our learners will answer for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So supposing there are 4 activities in a particular LAS, okay? So we will be presenting what will we do on a Monday? What activity will our students answer on a Monday? Okay, what activities will be answered on a Tuesday, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that is instructional design. We do not simply prepare instructional materials and then stop. We have to evaluate and revise in order to achieve our purpose of mastery of subject matter and learning competencies on the part of our students. And so, to end our sharing this afternoon, let me give you a quote, a popular quote from Nikos Kazantzakis. True teachers are those who use themselves as bridges over which they invite their students to cross. Then, having facilitated their crossing, joyfully collapse, encouraging them to create their own. The beauty of this particular quote from Nikos Kazantzakis lies in the figure of speech. 3 teachers are compared to collapsible bridges, no? So teachers are compared to bridges, but once the students had crossed the threshold of learning, they joyfully collapse so that their learners can create their own bridges. That's the beauty of teaching, right, my dear teachers? As teachers, we want to produce learners who are independent thinkers. As teachers, we want to produce learners who can create learning on their own. As teachers, we want to produce learners who are persons for others so that they can become what we call as productive citizens of our country. As teachers, we want to produce learners who will joyfully consecrate their ideals, their concepts, their values for love of country and for the ultimate glory of God. That is our mission. That is the DepEd vision. So thank you very much for being with me for this session of DepEd Teaches. Muli po, sa ngalan po ng aming Regional Director, Madam May B. Eclar, sa ngalan po ng aming Assistant Regional Director, Madam Roda Razon, ako po, si Maria Irelyn P. Tamayo, kasama po ang buong teaching and non-teaching personnel ng SDO Angeles City. Maraming salamat po. God bless you all.
So thank you so much, SDS Tamayo, for a thorough and exceedingly clear presentation. I believe our audience has been enlightened on instructional designing to help students reach mastery and to achieve learning standards. SDS Tamayo clearly discussed the logical and sequential progression of learning tasks or activities to be provided to the learners, from lower thinking skills to a higher order thinking skills, from one activity to another. And this is to properly scaffold learners' understanding. As to our live audience on Facebook, don't forget to share your insights and comments using the hashtag ISupportDepEdTeaches and hashtag DepEdTeaches Episode 5. You can also share your selfie post while you are listening in today's presentation, because we love to hear all your feedback.
So again, thank you very much for gracing this event, SDS Maria Irelyn Tamayo. That was a smooth presentation, very explicit in terms of the examples, and I love the metaphors she used, like the blooming butterfly and of course the collapsible bridges. So to our live audience, before we end, we just have some announcements, okay? So please take note, you will receive your certificate of participation on a thematic basis. So meaning, episodes 5 to 7 have the same theme, which is K-12 curriculum and planning. Two things you must remember. Register once only for episodes 5 to 7. So on the screen right now, you see the registration link for episode 5, which is also considered already for episode 7 and for episode 6 and 7. So on the 7th episode on February 4, we will share with you the link for the evaluation. That includes a 10-item question to test your knowledge and understanding on the presentations. So if you have accomplished the registration and got a 75% passing score, that's the time you will receive your certificates of appearance and participation. Remember, you must get at least 75% passing score. Hence, it will be really helpful if you will take down notes or play again this video so you can review and be ready to answer the evaluation on episode 7. Let me reiterate that you will only register once for episodes 5 to 7 because this is thematic. So if you register today, that is counted for episode 6 and 7 also. Don't ask for the evaluation right now. We will give it to you on the 7th episode. So you need to register and pass the evaluation for you to receive your 2 certificates. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, follow, and share our official Facebook page, DepEd Teaches. We hope to see you again next Thursday.
On behalf of the Curriculum and Instruction Strand, we hope it has been a productive afternoon with us. Remember, here in DepEd Teaches, our mission is empowering teachers, enabling learners. Good day, everyone.